There is a moment in a backyard that feels almost impossible to explain. You step outside. A robin is on the grass. A northern cardinal is tucked near the edge of the lilac bush. A tiny chickadee is gripping a feeder perch with feet so light they look like black thread. And then you move. Not much. Maybe one shoe shifts against the patio stone. Maybe your hand lifts a coffee mug. Maybe you turn your head just enough for the sunlight to catch your face. And the bird does not leave. It does not explode into the maple tree. It does not fire itself over the fence. It does not treat your body like a storm with bones. It stays. And something in you knows that matters. You are right, it does. Because that is not random courage. That is not stupidity. That is not a wild animal forgetting what danger is. That is a wild animal allowing its own ancient alarm system to pause while your body is still inside its world. Not because it has become tame, not because hunger erased fear, not because instinct broke, because instinct worked. It measured you. It remembered you. It compared today's version of you with every other version of you it has stored before. And somehow, against the old rule of the wild, it chose stillness over escape. Welcome back to Backyard Bird Whispers. Subscribe before you leave, because what you are about to discover will change the way you move through your own yard. Today, we are going into the science of bird trust, what it is, how it is built, and what it means when a wild animal decides you are worth letting in. Stay until the end, because the last thing we cover is the one that most people never realize, and it reframes every quiet moment you have ever shared with a bird in your yard. Number 1. A bird that lets you get close has been studying you for longer than you know. Most people think trust begins in the moment the bird does not fly away. It does not. That moment is the receipt. The real work started days ago, sometimes weeks ago, in tiny pieces so boring you never noticed them. The chickadee saw how you opened the back door. The cardinal saw whether you walked straight toward the feeder or curved around it. The robin saw whether your hands stayed low or suddenly snapped upward. A crow on the roofline saw your face, your stride, your timing, your ordinary morning pattern. To you, it was just taking out the compost. To the bird, it was data. Not data like a computer screen. Data like survival. A body moving through space, a face appearing at the same hour, a pair of shoulders that never lunged, a voice that stayed soft, a hand that filled the feeder and then backed away. Inside the bird, these moments do not vanish. Research connected to the University of Washington has shown that birds can hold specific human faces and behavior patterns in long-term memory. That means a crow or jay is not only seeing a person, it may be seeing you, not the idea of you, your face, your rhythm, the shape of your harmlessness. And this is where the story becomes intimate. Because a wild bird does not give you trust because you want it. It gives you trust because your repeated behavior made fear more expensive than staying. Every calm morning adds one small stone to the bridge. Every predictable step tells the nervous system, not this one. Every time you do not chase, grab, shout, or rush, you are teaching the bird that your presence does not require an emergency. That is why the first close encounter can feel sudden, but it is almost never sudden to the bird. The robin standing 3 feet from your shoe did not just decide in that second. It arrived there after building a private file on you. And when it finally stays, that is not the beginning of trust. That is the verdict. Number 2. The distance they keep tells you exactly where you stand. A bird's personal space is not vague. It has a border, a moving border. A border that can stretch across the yard when you are unknown, then shrink to the width of a porch rug when you become familiar. For many backyard birds, distance is a living measurement. 10 feet can mean caution. 6 feet can mean uncertainty. 3 feet can mean something very different. 3 feet is not just close. 3 feet is close enough that your shadow can slide over the grass beside them. 3 feet is close enough that a robin can see the small turn of your wrist.
3 feet is close enough that one wrong move could end the whole experiment. And yet some robins keep feeding there, head down, beak in the soil, body still loose. That is not carelessness. That is a nervous system doing math faster than language. The archipalium, the bird brain's tiny alarm room, can react within milliseconds when something looks dangerous. According to work associated with the University of California, that alarm can trigger corticosterone, the stress hormone that pushes the heart faster and sends blood away from digestion and into the muscles. In plain backyard language, the body gets ready to launch. But when memory says, "This human has been safe before," the alarm does not always win. That is the invisible miracle. At 3 feet, the robin is not ignoring you. It is actively holding two truths at once. This creature is huge. This creature has not harmed me. And if the memory side is stronger than the alarm side, the bird stays. So the space between your shoe and that robin is not empty space. It is a live report. It is the bird saying, with its whole body, "You are inside the danger zone, but not inside the panic zone." Number 3. What the bird is actually measuring when it watches you. It is tempting to imagine that birds can sense your soul, that they know your intention, that a chickadee on the feeder somehow feels that you are gentle. But the real answer is more physical, more practical, more beautiful, because it means your body has been speaking all along. First signal, your face. To a bird, a face is not just a face. It is a warning label, a memory card, and a weather forecast packed into one small moving shape. Research from the University of Washington points to the Nidopallium caudolaterale, the bird brain's little decision desk, as part of how birds store individual faces and behavior patterns. In ordinary words, that means certain birds can remember the difference between a harmless neighbor and a person who once acted like a threat. So when a crow looks down from a power line and tilts its head, that is not empty staring. It may be checking your file. Second signal, your path. Straight lines are dangerous in nature. A fox moves straight toward what it wants. A hawk drops straight toward what it wants. A hand reaching straight toward a bird looks like the beginning of capture. But a person who walks in a curve, pauses, turns sideways, and never locks the body directly onto the bird is sending a different message. Not hunting, not chasing, just passing through. Third signal, your size. You are enormous to a chickadee. A chickadee weighs about 11 grams, roughly the weight of 2 small coins. Your shoe alone is a building. Your hand is a falling branch. Your face is a moon. So when you crouch lower, turn your shoulders away, soften your gaze, and let the bird decide the final distance, you are not being dramatic. You are shrinking the threat. You are asking permission without words. And sometimes, if you do this long enough, a bird answers by not leaving. That tiny stillness is not nothing. It is access granted. Number 4. Some birds are individually bolder than others, and you may have found one. This is the part people often get wrong. They think every close bird is proof of a magical bond, or they think every shy bird means they failed. Neither is true.
Birds are not little copies of each other wearing different feathers. A robin can be unusually calm. A cardinal can be cautious for its entire life. One blue jay can scream at you from the oak tree like you have committed a crime, while another jay lands near the feeder and studies you like a neighbor with opinions.
Even inside the same species, there are different temperaments. Bold birds explore more. Shy birds survive by hesitating more. Neither one is broken. They are using different strategies in the same dangerous world. For a bold bird, approaching a familiar human can come with benefits. It may reach the feeder first. It may learn which yard has water after a dry morning. It may find the quiet corner where the cat rarely patrols. But boldness has a cost. The bird that investigates too quickly can also misjudge a window, a dog, a hawk shadow, or a person who is not safe. That is why trust is never just personality. It is personality plus history, innate nerve plus repeated evidence. The bird may have been born with a lower fear setting, but it still had to test you. It still had to watch whether your hand stayed gentle. It still had to learn that your porch, your feeder, your chair, your morning rhythm were not traps. Hormones and Behavior Journal has connected long exposure to non-threatening humans with lower baseline corticosterone in birds. That matters because corticosterone is not just a stress word. It is the body's fire alarm juice. If it stays too high for too long, it can weaken immunity, hurt breeding success, and shorten life. So, when a robin relaxes near you, that does not only mean it feels brave. It may mean your presence has become one less emergency in its day. You did not erase the wildness. You helped the wildness spend less energy being afraid. And for a creature that lives by saving every heartbeat it can, that is not small. That is a gift. Number 5. What it means that the bird keeps coming back to you. This is where everything comes together. The face, the distance, the path you take across the yard, the way your hand moves near the feeder. The mornings you were predictable, the evenings you were quiet, the times you could have chased the moment and did not. A bird that returns is not just repeating a habit. It may be following a reward map inside the brain. Dopamine, the brain's tiny "come back here" signal, helps animals repeat experiences that turned out useful, safe, or rewarding. Corvid behavioral research shows that crows, jays, and other intelligent birds can seek out familiar humans, sometimes even when no food is visible. Think about that. Not just when the feeder is full, not just when peanuts are in your hand. Sometimes the bird comes because you have become part of the pattern that predicts safety. A crow on the fence, a blue jay flashing through the maple, a chickadee landing on the same branch above your chair, a robin staying in the grass while you sit with a mug cooling in your hands. This is not ownership. This is not taming. This is not the bird becoming less wild. It is the opposite. It is wild intelligence doing what wild intelligence does best: comparing, remembering, adjusting, choosing. And maybe that is why these moments hit so deeply. Because some part of you can feel the size of the decision. A creature built to flee does not flee. A body built around alarm lets the alarm lower. A brain carrying ancient instructions looks at your face, your posture, your history, your repeated restraint, and makes room for you. Not forever, not blindly, not without conditions, but here, now, in this patch of grass, beside this feeder, under this ordinary sky.
The bird is saying something without language. I know enough about you to stay. And for a wild animal, that is one of the quietest honors you will ever receive. Tell me in the comments, how close has a backyard bird ever come to you in your yard? Was it the first time it had done that, or had it been getting closer for a while? I want to know the story. I read every one. These are the ones I carry longest. I'll see you in the next.